Ah, hello, folks. Well, today we are. Oh wow, that's really loud on your guys' end. Holy shit! I know how to be a streamer. So today we have a very exciting event happening, and hydrate. What is happening with the typing right now? Thank you, Jellybean, for the follow. What is with the typing? I do not know. Oh, that's good. It's weird because Pixel Chat's up. Hold on, let me just refresh Pixel Chat while it has its little hissy fit. You gonna stop having a hissy fit now? No? What are you doing? Is it working? Okay, yeah, it is. I don't know much English. Oh! Okay. Okay, the way that that's typed out, it looks like when I forget to switch my keyboard back from the Japanese keyboard. I was like, oh no, wait, what's happening? Okay, so today is a very special event. But a very special event, I think, requires a different outfit So if you'll excuse me, I have to get changed. I cannot present in this state. I cannot present in this state. So you must excuse me while I do some behind the scenes stuff and have the proper attire to teach a class. I'm sorry, I cannot teach in my astronaut outfit. That's just unacceptable. That just cannot happen. I mean, you've already seen it. It's not like it's not a special outfit. You've already seen it. Hi. This looks better, right? Yeah. I don't know where my hand's going. I think it's just going off into the void, and that's fine. Yes, fit check. I was trying to be all cool and suave about this, but I realized that sometimes Twitter doesn't like to send the tweets that I send about me being live, and this time it did. Okay, cool. Also, my order from DoorDash is on its way. Okay. So, it is me, the teacher. It was originally much more, I wouldn't say lewd, but it was a lot more New Carnival than this. But I changed my mind and decided that, you know, an appropriate teacher would wear pants. Like pants. My hair is in a nice little bun, though. And my tail, don't ask where my tail is. Just don't. You don't want to know. But we do have a presentation to... oh god, all the kanji. I could have actually told you if that was correct or not. Hold on. What did you type? It's... okay, fun fact for you. If you go to Google Translate, it's better now, but it's just stiff. It's just very book... it's very... what you learn in a class, not what you would learn, like, if you were speaking it. So you said watashi wa at the beginning. Most people don't put that unless they're talking formally, as far as I remember. But your translation is not incorrect. Oh, Peachy! Peachy, my beloved. Welcome in. I'm letting people file in a little bit because I posted it in a couple different places. So Jellybean, this is Mars. Takara Judy. Jetty Bean. Could not read that. For some reason I thought that was Judy Bean. I was like, what the fuck is a Jolie Bean? And then I realized it's Jelly Bean. I can read some Japanese. I'm very bad with kanji unless it is the very basic. Yes, you're my beloved. Oh, I have a couple of rules, would you say? A couple things before we start. Some of them I'll get into in the presentation, so I won't get into all of them, but one of them I wanted to tell you about is if you go into the eggs in the channel point redemption, there is a thing at the top that says ask a question. I'm realizing now as I'm saying that I actually didn't change any of the parameters so you guys can't just spam me questions, but I want you guys to use that and type a question, and I just want you to see what happens. Sorry, I'm trying to go on Twitch to edit one of them because I know that there was a setting in there I forgot to change. Site, please. Where am I going? Just use that redeem and just... Okay. Alright. Twitch, I need you to work with me here. Cooldown. At least one redemption, yeah. Time redemption's up to 7 days. I just want it to be like 5 minutes so I can go more than 5 minutes. No, that'll be fine. So I tried to put it as low as it would go. It wouldn't let me put 1 and it actually work with what I was trying to do. I don't know why, but I did it for 10 eggs. So with those 10 eggs, oh, it's so quiet. Oh, why is it so quiet? What the hell? Oh, it's not on this one. I'm so stupid. Okay, hold on. No, you're gonna have to do that again. I'm so sorry. I think I can refund those. But hold on. I thought they were on here. I'm so embarrassed. Okay, it should be there now. Now try it. Oh, stretch. I'm stretching. Ah, thank you, Jelly Bean, for the stretch. I probably needed that. Oh, someone else try it, because I think there's a cooldown of 5 minutes. So I don't get spammed with questions. Ugh. But try it. Try it. That's Dorima. Magic. No. Commentator? Commentator. I know you're just saying what you're just translating it there, but I was trying to practice. There's just so much kanji I can't read. Realist. Does Japanese not have a word for realist? That's interesting. But if someone wants, actually, I guess I could just do it. Let me see if it works this time. Reward is on cooldown. Motherfucker, that's not the one I wanted to do it then. That's not the way I wanted to do it. I did it wrong. Hold on. No, that's not what I clicked. I think I might have typed it in the wrong one. Hold up. I did. I wanted to put this here. There we go. Now that should work in a minute here. Okay. Why are you so gay? Why is it so quiet? Oh no, it was fine when I tested it earlier. This is embarrassing. I was like so prepared. Is it? That's so weird. Hold on. I know you guys could hear it, but it's so quiet. I wonder if it's just like low on my monitor or something? Like I need to be able to hear it. Oh shit. TTS. Oh, monitor's off. That's why. Monitor and output. I hope that doesn't fuck it up. I'm Finch, local vocal enthusiast and short king, not very tall. Tashi wa Hinchu desu. Bokoroi. That's so much kanji. That's so much kanji. I cannot fucking read. Oh my god, my fucking food's here. It scared the crap out of me. Teacher. Dear teacher. Why are you gay? Why isn't it working? What is happening? Why is it now? Why can't I now not hear it at all? Shut down source when not visible. Turn that off maybe? I'm gonna listen, we're gonna do this, but I'm gonna be right back. I gotta grab my food from the door. I was supposed to eat a long time ago. What is gay? Like, not straight. I don't know how to explain this to someone who doesn't speak English very well. Oh my god. Okay, I guess the question is, are you guys hearing it fine? Because I'm literally not hearing it. So what did I do? TTS at 0, monitor and output, and you can hear it on everything. But I can't hear it. Maybe the music needs to be quieter for me. Let me just turn the music like way down, and then just turn this up so that it's normal. Just turn this like way down. And then turn it down a little bit more because it's kind of loud. It's very quiet on our end. Why? Oh, that's probably why. I swear to God, I did not. It wasn't like this before. The volume was fine. They don't let me. Oh, there we go. The volume was at 60. For fucking what? For fucking what? Max TTS time. Oh, yeah, that was fine. Okay, yeah. See, you know how to use words. I have my words written down, so I don't have to be able to. Okay. Okay. Teacher. Why are you a cat?
Teacher. Why are you a cat?
There we go. That's so much better. Now the question is that echo? Because that's the real concern here, if that echoed. That was so much better. The volume on the TTS was at 60 for some reason. and then my audio was already turned all the way down, so that's why I couldn't hear anything. We will be getting to the actual presentation, I swear to God. So let me explain to you what happened earlier. I haven't driven my car since Thursday. Can prove it. I have this app that lets me know like when I left and entered a geofence that I set. It is out of stock. What did I do? Why do I keep touching things I shouldn't touch? Hold on. I am a good streamer. I swear to God, I know what I'm doing. Half the time, sort of. And the other half, just not at all. Did I I think I accidentally... You know what? I need to just stop touching buttons. There. Save? Okay, what is out of stock is the question. The redeem? It shouldn't be. There's a time limit of 1 minute so that I don't get totally spammed with it, and so that oh Jesus, that was the cup, I swear. I hate saying that, but I swear that was the cup. What is out of stock? Dare I ask, what is out of stock? Tequis sounds? Take request sounds? Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can read through this. Hold up. I'm gonna probably have to keep translate up for this, just so I can. I'm sorry, I can't read. Tech question? Tech question is what I'm gleaning from this. Question. Yes, tech question. Tech question. Yes. Yes. How is it out of stock? What do you mean it's out of stock? I'm confused. What do you mean out of stock? I don't know what out of stock you mean. Finch, help. Okay. So, let me explain to you what happened to my, while we do that, let me explain. This was double wrapped. My sandwich was. So, I was going to get food before stream so that I would be, full belly, won't have to eat in the middle of stream. Well, then I go to my car and I'm like, my car seems kind of tilted. My dumbass didn't check my car. My entire front driver's side tire was just down. No. Okay. Oh, they put pickles on my sandwich. Those bastards. That's okay. I can take them off. NBD. It's food. That's all I care about. The ask away was out of stock for me. Oh, yeah. So there's a minute time limit on there because the TTS is weird. Text-to-speech is weird if you try to do stuff too fast. So I limited it to a minute so that there's no chance it'll just be, overwhelmed. But other than that, there shouldn't be any out of stock. And if there is, tell me again.
Teacher. What's your go-to Taco Bell order?
My go-to Taco Bell order. Oh, Lord. My go-to Taco Bell order is probably... there's a couple of things. It depends on the mood. But if I had to just pick one that I get, when someone wants me to know if I want Taco Bell, I get a 5-layer burrito and cinnamon twists and maybe a drink if I'm feeling frisky. That's my go-to Taco Bell order. The 5-layer burrito slaps way too hard. But what Taco Bell? It's a fast food restaurant. It's got Mexican food, but if it was invented in America. It's kind of Mexican food, but you don't go to Taco Bell because you want Mexican food. You go to Taco Bell because you want Taco Bell. It's not Mexican food, but it it is. Okay, so I went out to my car. My car was slanted. Tire was completely flat. So I told my mom, and my mom is like, okay, we'll send your stepdad over to, get the spare on so you can get to the tire place tomorrow morning. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he gets here and he's like, we're just going to air up your tire now.
Teacher.
Oh, Jesus.
Why do you hate pickles so much?
Because they're fucking nasty. Pickles are gross. They're vinegar-soaked cucumbers. They're disgusting. I hate them. The only thing I hate more than pickles is mustard. I can't do mustard. If a sandwich is given to me with pickles on it, I'll just take the pickles off and just deal with it. If it's given to me with mustard on it, nope, not eating it. You're gonna have to remake that shit. Mustard's gross. Oh man, this entire buns tastes like mustard now. They're not mustard, pickles. That's alright. So my stepdad gets here, fills up the tire, and he can't find the hole, but he can hear it. And I can hear it too. I'm like, oh shit. So I have to get in my car, and then, brain, come on. I get in my car, I roll it back a little bit, turn it off, and then we find the hole by using some water and some, dish soap to find the hole. And it's a decent hole. I don't even know where I got it from. I think, because it's been snowing. So what happens here is it snows really bad overnight. It stays for a day, and then the next day it's all melted. So the roads are getting fucking destroyed by all this bullshit. Can we petition to keep the TTS and make us like a little chat duck for text-to-speech? I need to figure out how to set that up. But yes, because most of those, fun fact, you have to use bits for. If you notice, the text isn't appearing on screen unless I'm stupid, and it is. But it's not, it's not appearing on screen. I don't know how to make it do that. That's too complicated. I looked it up, and everything was either complicated or required bits. So I want to do that, but if I do that, it's gonna be bits. But just yeah. Try to peek. This is like a puzzle. It's like a new Wordle. Putting this into translate and just seeing what Google tries to tell me. I hate pickles. Oh my god, jelly bean has taste. Oh my god, jelly bean has taste. Doesn't like pickles. We love to see it. But I wanted to get McDonald's because they have a coupon where I can get a whole chicken sandwich meal for like $5. But I can't even go anywhere now. I can't make my parents drive me to a fast food restaurant for no reason, so I know that I'm getting bullied. Yeah, Peachy, pretty sure you and like everyone that we went to school with love pickles, and I would just like, they're just the bane of my existence. I hate them. I don't know. I thought this food would take a lot longer to get here to be like in the middle of the presentation, but here it is. Peachy used to live in the same town as me. I don't know if you also experienced this, but the KFC that we have in town isn't good. We just got a brand that sells pickles in a pouch. Oh, like the hot pickles that you see at like gas stations. Because, I remember seeing stuff about that, like, a long time ago. Alright. Yes, them. Oh, wow, them exactly. Oh, that's cool. Okay. I keep saying okay like I'm gonna get started, but I really want to eat my food. I swear to God, I didn't plan for this to go this wrong, but here we are. Like... apparently pouch pickles are so good. If you like pickles. I don't like pickles, so. I'm trying not to eat in y'all's ears once again. I understand pouch pickles are like super popular. I'm guessing this is asking what are pouch pickles. What is McDonald's? Also a fast food restaurant. Definitely American. Definitely American. It's like burgers, fries. They have like chicken sandwiches, stuff too, but they're mostly known for like their burgers and their Sprite. McDonald's Sprite slaps. 10 out of 10 perfection. Okay. You know what? Jelly Bean, you're doing great. English is hard. You know what? You're conquering. You're doing great. I struggle with English as my first language. McDonald no koto. Oh, if I could read. Ita koto ga arimasen ka? Yeah, McDonald's is overseas and in Japan, but I don't think it's in like smaller towns and stuff. It's not like here where smaller communities will have like these still like huge big chains that just take over the town. They usually don't have like overseas fast food places. I'm gonna be real with you, I do not know if Japan has their own local fast food places. I think they do. And they have like konbinis and stuff. I'm mostly trying to eat this sandwich because this is like the hardest part to like not to like eat without being right in your ear. Before we get on with this. Oh shit. Ignore that. Oh my god. I have no idea how to delete that. I'm so sorry. I'm a mess. I did turn that off. I know I turned that off. I know I did because I went and adjusted my timers right after stream so I wouldn't forget. So I don't know why it didn't take. Okay. Sorry. There we go. That shouldn't pop up again. I'm tired? Yeah, I'm tired. Zeddy? What are you saying? Oh, jelly. That's interesting. Anata no soba no jimoto no fast food wa nani desu ka? I did definitely read the Romaji for that because there was kanji in there I didn't know how to read. What? I think I got the pronunciations right. Zeddy, anata no soba no jimoto no fast food wa nani desu ka? I knew nani desu ka? I knew fast food. I could not figure out. This is so fun. It's like a little puzzle. Do you know K-pop? Hell yeah, I do. You notice the K-pop tag that literally will not leave my stream? Yeah, I like K-pop. Oh god, if I can remember how to say this, what is it? Is it Pentagon God? Pentagon God? Pentagon God? Pentagon God? Ski desu ka? Do you like Pentagon? Because Pentagon's the only one I care about. I just have Google Translate up right now as we talk with Jelly. I don't know. I heard we're talking K-pop. Pentagon is a 9-member group under Cube Entertainment. Very good K-pop group. What K-pop do you know? What? Nani no K-pop o shite imasu ka? I think is what that is. Twice! Taste! Absolute taste. You have very good taste in music. Sana. Yep, that checks. My bias is Cheon. Hello, Chess. We're doing it just chatting because my food arrived a lot faster than I thought it was going to. And, I figured I would eat before we started, rather than, like, as I'm trying to get through this presentation. Tetsuo? Oh, hey. Ready for crunchy? Maybe that wasn't so crunchy. Okay. I think we are probably good to start. I say I start choking. So, oh, these fries are crap. Oh, that's so sad. They're old. Remember when KFC had potato wedges? It was so much better. Secret recipe for these fries is to let them sit under the heat lamp for longer than 30 minutes. Hi, if you didn't know, I used to work fast food. 7 years. Manager status for 4 of those. 4 of those months. Whoops. But for like 3 of them, I was basically manager. So.
Teacher. What is 967 times 548?
I have Google to help me with that. Times 248. 548. It is 529,916. Mental maths. That was not mental math. I probably could have done mental math though. Because 900 times 500 is 45,000 plus 60 times 40 is 2,400, so that's that doesn't make sense. That's not how mental math works. Jesus fucking Christ. I can't like stop choking on random pieces of food. Wow. What the fuck was that? Something in my apartment just moved. That's fun. Love to see that. These fries are awful. This is a bad idea. Like my ASMR. This is now an ASMR channel. I'm gonna eat a fry right now. That was probably awful. Anyone who's coming in for K&D, by the way, it is still happening. My food just got here way faster than I thought. And, I didn't want to eat it in the middle. What is ASMR? No. Chess? Chess? I saw that. I saw what you were talking about. And holy shit. ASMR, it's like satisfying sounds. Like sounds that's like are really nice to listen to. Yeah, I saw it. Your life just gets more and more interesting, don't it? Okay. I'm starting to get how to communicate with you, Jelly Bean. I have a real friendship, you and I. Especially these fries are like inedible. They're so bad. They're like overcooked and old. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. I need to find new music. I didn't think this intro was gonna take this long. Let's try this one from the same channel. Perfect. Something about Xxxl is what I'm gathering from this. Google Translate, help me out. Ike Itzy? I knew Peachy would perk up at that. Itzy, hello? We do be loving Itzy in this house. Alright, all the food has been consumed that's edible. Are y'all ready? For some K&D? Where am I? Where am I? There I am. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, so I'm actually gonna turn this off for a second. So, here we are. K&D, codename Kids Next Door. The past, the present, and the future? Today, on Mars Teaches and Mars Talks, or whatever you want to call this segment, we will be talking about codename Kids Next Door, the cartoon that you definitely should be watching. The show is available to watch officially on HBO Max. It's the only place you can watch it. But there are free alternatives online, but I always say support the official where you can because it shows networks what's popular. That being said, we are going to get started with this and I'm going to come back in. Hello. All right. So what is codename Kids Next Door? I hear you asking from my spot in hell. What the hell is codename Kids Next Door? Oh, before we get started, I forgot to say, Jesus. I might not pay attention to chat the whole time, which is why I have the teacher thing to snap me out of whatever rant I'm going on. So use that if I'm really not paying attention to chat and you have like a question. All right. So, codename Kids Next Door was a popular cartoon that aired from 2002 to 2008 across 6 seasons, 1 movie, and 1 crossover with The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, if you can believe it. I haven't been able to find that in a place where I can watch it, so yeah. Yeah, I did go to 2008. First and foremost, it was a children's cartoon, and it was a great one at that. But if you revisit it now as an adult in 2022, you'll find it had a lot more than you remember, and trust me, it had a lot more than you remember. I still notice stuff on my now 3rd time rewatching it. The story, the characters, the villains, all of the small details, everything, all of it. There's a lot to talk about, but for now, I just want to get you acquainted with the basics of the show. I just realized I was supposed to be like, you know, continuing to press fucking buttons. But for now, we're just gonna get the basics. Can I space? I can space bar. That's so much faster. Wow. Okay. So, what makes the show good? What makes codename Kids Next Door the show that I cannot shut the fuck up about and keeps me up at night thinking about the intricacies of the timeline? Jellybean, your favorite Itzy member is, Yeji? As it should. Okay. Like I said, the first and... I have like a small script next to me so I don't get too off tangent, but like, I can't read, so that's fun. The first and most important goal of this show was to make a good children's show. It had to be engaging and appealing to children first and foremost, and it did. It was a great children's show. Most of y'all likely watched this as a kid, or at least remember seeing it around, and everything about it is appealing to kids. Essentially, it's just children dressing up as special ops. Like, how fucking cool is that? Especially if you're playing with people like on the playground, you can pretend to be K&D members. That's so fucking cool. But if you revisit it as an adult, you can see just how much care was put into it, like using all those analysis skills you got from like English classes and everything. Like you can see how much thought and care was actually like put into it by the writers and the animators and everything. It's really cool. You can see things like continuity, storylines, character development that is age appropriate, so it doesn't feel like you're putting like 25-year-old storylines onto 10-year-olds and then mashing it and trying to make it make sense. This all feels like stuff that kids would do. Like none of it ever feels too grown up. Every Kids Next Door operative still feels like a kid experiencing the pain of slowly becoming an adult. So, all that being said, that is just the introduction. We have some actual stuff to get into today. But before that, lore-heavy topics will not be discussed at all. I know I talk about a lot of major plot points and stuff, and bring it up quite a bit on my Twitter, and especially in Discord and the Info Dump channel. But when I reference lore-heavy parts of the K&D, there are certain events that I think would be better left to a later classroom or class that I'm going to do at some point about the timeline specifically. They're either the things that I could talk about for the characters, either retcon something essential to the character or something else in the franchise, or they modify essential info for someone or something else. I just don't want to go into it because then that creates a whole nother conversation. We're just going to do the basics. Basically, the movie and then seasons 5 through 6 are completely off limits from being mentioned at all. They literally, as soon as they end season 4, actually in season 4, they start to ramp it up a little bit, but after season 4, they ramp it up from like 0 to 11. Like that shit just goes. Feel free to ask questions using the point system that I have implemented, but if I don't bring it up on the slides specifically, and there are some events that there's some things in here where it's like, don't bring it up. I know you guys know the answer and what this actually is, but don't bring it up. This is just an intro to the series. We'll get to the details in due time. I fucking promise you I have a lot to talk about. So, you know what? This whole fucking space thing, if I could just remember that I have to do it, this would be such a much better presentation. This went fine when I did it myself. But, let's go. We're going to start with the production history of codename Kids Next Door, because there's quite a bit to it that I didn't even know was there until I started doing this presentation. So, oh no, the slide thing. Why are you over there? Okay, there we go. So, for the first note of production history, we're going to be talking about Kenny and the Chimp, which was Mr. Warburton's first planned show. The Kids Next Door actually came from this show. They were side characters. You don't see them in the pilot that you can still watch today. But... oh my god, my brain just fucking shut off. Hold on. Kids Next Door come from this show, but the show doesn't have... they're not like the main characters. They're literally the kids that live next door to Kenny. If you want to watch the pilot, it's usually grouped in with Operation Caked, which is the first episode in production order, and then No Pee in the Ool, which was the original pilot for Kids Next Door. They were actually the villains at first. Like... They were mean. They like messed with Kenny and Chimpy. It was insane. They constantly messed with him and like tried to ruin his fun, and it's just bad. Dr. Xxxl, I didn't know that was the next one. Dr. Xxxl makes his first appearance, and he does become an occasional featured villain in K&D, starting with Operation Arctic, I think. But fun fact, this short does mention swine flu. 11 years before the H1N1 pandemic. Remember when swine flu was like everywhere for some reason? Yeah. This show didn't predict it. It was merely a coincidence. It's literally Kenny's head becomes a pig. So like it's called the swine flu. But it's interesting that actually was quote unquote predicted 11 years before. But Kenny and the Chimp, it's nothing super notable, but it is interesting to see like the origin of where these characters came from, quote unquote. It's an interesting watch. It is on HBO Max. It's coupled in with the first episode with Operation Caked and then No Pee in the Ool. The next thing we need to talk about is when K&D actually started to become a thing, which is not this slide. This is from Kenny and the Chimp. I'm organized, I promise. This is actually from Tom Warburton's blog. Tom Warburton. I know how to say his name, I swear. So, I'm going to read this out loud because it might be kind of small and kind of crap quality on your screens, but I'm going to read it. So, if you look here, you can see the beta Kids Next Door, beta Sector V specifically. None of their designs really change from this point on, but you can see that their designs definitely get more refined as the show was made. But they have like high-tech equipment, and they're like clearly messing with Chimpy down here. Like it's interesting, the difference between the actual Kids Next Door now and then what they were before. So little is known about this group of 5 kids that operates out of the house next door to Kenny. This in itself is strange, as no one knows which one lives there, if any, and no one has ever seen any trace of parental supervision. Depending on the item they've gotten their hands on that day, they have called themselves the Catapult Kids, the Deep Fryer 5, the Chocolate Pudding Platoon, the Makeover Mafia, the Bucket of Brown Betty Bucket of Brown Betty Bunch, Jesus, and many other monikers. No one name has stuck for very long, more likely just mischievous kids with access to high-end technology than criminals, but don't be so sure. They are very secretive of their actions and are not friendly to outsiders, especially Kenny. On the other hand, Chimpy is always welcome amongst their ranks, and the combination of his unintentional mischief with their deliberate shenanigans can cause a mess of unusual size. Fortunately, the kids can be somewhat easily outwitted and sent scrambling to regroup, only to surface later with new deviltry and an even newer name. This is just the plan for Kenny and Chimp. Kenny and the Chimp is what the thing was officially called. But those kids next door, they were literally the kids next door to Kenny. That's where their name comes from. The next part of the production history after Kenny and the Chimp was when K&D finally started to become like a thing, like an actual full-fledged show. Cartoon Network's The Big Pick. It was a pilot competition show held, I believe, only in 2000 and 2001. I couldn't find any information about it existing outside of that, but it was basically cartoonists would submit their pilots to be judged upon and voted upon, and then whatever won would immediately get a 6-season contract. So Kenny the Chimp was quickly rejected to be picked up for a full series after Warburton pitched it to Cartoon Network. He quickly took those kids next door we talked about, the pesky ones, and created a pilot centering around them and entered Cartoon Network's The Big Pick in 2001. The previous year, The Big Pick had picked up The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, so this competition was a pretty big deal. Spoiler alert, each competitor had made like a promotional flyer to post literally like online and offline. Like Warburton talked about how he would like go into random comic book stores and hang up this like these flyers. The pilot No Pee in the Ool won the contest by a large margin. If you want to know what the large margin was, K&D won 27% of the votes. And the next two were Kitty Bobo Show and My Freaky Family. And Kitty Bobo won 13% of the votes, and Freaky Family won 11% of the votes. K&D like won. They were immediately signed for a full 6 seasons, and production was set to start immediately. The first full episode, which is not the first episode on HBO Max, but the first episode that aired was Operations Ice Cream and Cannon, and that premiered on December 6th, 2002. Now, there are plenty of other production things we can get into for the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I kind of want to move along a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about is not this. Jesus Christ, why did I add so many slides? These are the flyers that they handed out and posted online and everything for The Big Pick. This one on the right is the one that they used to ask people to vote for K&D. That was this one, and I could not find a source for what this one was. I think it might have also been another promotional thing that maybe Warburton posted online or something, but it was listed in this same forum right here about The Big Pick. I was lucked out in finding this, actually. I was shocked that I was able to find it. But these are the only high quality versions I could find, and they are pretty good. It does scream 2000s, but does this not also scream a poster that a child would make to threaten someone with their cat? Like... Oh, it's great. All right. So the next thing we need to talk about, other than behind the scenes stuff, which just isn't, it's interesting, but we got a lot to talk about. So we need to talk about the history of 2x4 technology, which is the main kind of technology that is used in K&D. So this shit was iconic. Arguably speaking, the 2x4 technology is one of the most iconic parts of the series, if not the first thing people think of. Like, this is a mailbox that shoots orange juice to take out the common cold. What? And by the way, the common cold is literally a villain in the show. The devices seem exactly like things that only kids with access to just a bit more tools come up with. The acronyms for each one were always some of my favorites. The custom type, that is not custom typography. That is literally the font that is used in codename Kids Next Door. It's called Aura. I obtained it, and then I found out you can't upload custom fonts to Google. You have to use Google fonts, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I just made them in Illustrator and exported them as PNGs, and now they're here. It's great. I worked hard to get that font, and I wasn't about to let it just slip by. Yeah, it's called Aura, like your aura or whatever. It's good font. It's got like good kerning and everything. I didn't kern any of this. There's a couple spots that I think Peachy, one of our old instructors, would not like, but it's actually not bad. This is all just default. Okay, so where was I? The acronyms. They were all made by Kooky. Maybe it's implied that they were made by Kooky in a couple different spots. But they're one of my favorite parts about the series, like the poster wording. Oh, that one. Talking about this? Are you talking about the custom typography on this? Because I'm pretty sure they just had Warburton make this. Or are you talking about this? Now I'm confused. Or are you talking about the bottom? Because the bottom of that one is also just candy. Peachy is a type nerd, which is good because she's really good at it. The poster on the left. Oh yes, that is definitely hand-drawn. It's definitely hand-drawn. Okay, sorry, I got confused, but the font... So it's not a font. It probably was developed by Mo Willems because he does a lot of like typography stuff. I need to send you, Peachy, there's a font from Galactic K&D that I don't want to spoil that I'm going to send to you. And I'm going to show you how cool it is, but I'll do that. Anyways, yes. So, every time they introduce a new weapon, they have this whole screen that comes up where they, there's an acronym for it, and then they explain what the acronym is for, and they're always so dumb, and they're exactly what a child would come up with. It's great. Oh, sorry, I needed some water. But as cool as these are, did you know that the K&D were originally going to have a high-end futuristic technology, like shiny, sleek, and new? But Cartoon Network pointed out that Dexter's lab was already doing that, and maybe a different approach would work better. So, thanks, Dexter, for being an unbelievably smart 10-year-old. Is he 10 or is he 8? I don't remember how old he is. The tiny little bitch from Dexter's lab. Thank you for that, because we wouldn't have this iconic weaponry and artillery and vehicles without it. All right. So, who are the kids next door? Who are they? What the fuck is what's a kids next door? What's a child? This is kind of a hard question to answer, actually. It's kind of clear that if you watch season 1, that Mr. Warburton built the K&D world from the ground up. Originally, they kind of just focused on Sector V and made the other operatives just seem like one-off side characters. But quickly, it became clear that Sector V wouldn't be the strong team that it was without the other operatives in K&D. Part of the goal of creating K&D actually was to make a diverse cast with kids from all kinds of backgrounds, from all different ethnicities, from all different countries, etc., which is why Sector V is arguably the most diverse in the K&D that's like a featured sector. That being said, they are, where did my mind just go? That being said, they are the main characters, so we're gonna start with Sector B for sure. But before that, I need to note all operatives' codenames are in a number blank format. There are very loose rules as to what can be a number. See number T 74.239 11D billion 8A8B. All operatives I'll introduce will have their real names listed as well because I use them a lot as well. Unless otherwise stated, all operatives are 10 years old according to Warburton. So, let's get on to the main characters. The main characters I'm considering are Sector V, and we're going to stick with that. First up, as it should be, we have number 1, aka Nigel Uno. He is the leader of Sector V. He's a very serious and goal-oriented kid, which makes him the perfect person to lead a sector of the K&D, especially Sector V. His parents moved from England to the States when he was like 3 or something, so his British accent is more subtle than his mom and dad's. Despite being sort of a natural at being a K&D operative, he didn't really have a huge interest in it at first. Number 5 actually was the one that approached him when she barely knew him and told him he should become a cadet. And she even went into K&D Records and changed his grades on the entrance exam so that he could pass. He was a fast learner and soon became an operative to look up to. Literally everyone in the K&D looks up to this kid. He has no siblings. He is an only child. He's actually the only child in Sector V. The only child in Sector V, I should say. Hold on. He's not the only child. He's the only child in Sector V. He's currently dating Lizzie Divine. Lizzie Divine, my beloved. We'll get into her a little bit later. But yes, he is currently dating her. And he is voiced by Ben Diskin. If you don't know the name Ben Diskin, if you've ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he voices Joseph Joestar. He voices my favorite JoJo. So when he got this role, he was like 17 or 18 when they started recording for it. So he was really young when he got this role. All right, but moving on, not me gushing about number 1 for too long. We have number 2, aka Hokey P. Gilligan. I forgot to put Junior. He is the 2x4 technology officer of Sector V. He's a really smart kid. Like, that's kind of his thing. He's kind of like a nerd character. But despite that, he's really bad at puns, even though he likes to do them like every episode. His main appearance, if you can't tell, is loosely themed around pilots. And a lot of his reference material, like in production Bibles and stuff, it's like themed around planes. Like he's drawn to be like pretending to be a plane and like playing with toy planes and like actual reference material. So he isn't. Why is that there? I didn't organize my notes very well. He isn't as skilled in hand-to-hand combat as like his other teammates, but he can make new weapons on the fly. Like in Operation Elections, there was like all these bikes that had like no weapons on them, and he had them all outfitted to actually stand a chance against the teens. Or he can upgrade technology super fast, like in Operation Zero, which we're not going to get super into Operation Zero, but he did make some pretty cool on-the-fly modifications that basically made it so that the K&D wasn't just eradicated. The inventions he brings to the science fair, which is something I'll briefly mention again later, are usually lacking. Which makes you think he cracks under pressure, which is interesting. He's also a very well-known detective at Gallagher Elementary School, the elementary school that all of these kids attend, or all of Sector V attend. His partner is like, not his partner, he coexists with another one named Joe. He has one younger brother named Tommy, who we'll talk about later. Tommy does actually later enroll as a cadet next door, but again, we'll get to that later. And fun fact, he's also voiced by Ben Diskin, so he also shares a voice actor with Joseph Joestar. All right. From there, we're gonna get to number 3, Kuki Sanbon. Kuki Sanbon, my beloved. She is the Diversionary tactics expert and an occasional medic for Sector V. An unusually upbeat Japanese-American girl who loves all things girly. All of them, especially rainbow monkeys. Rainbow monkeys are K&D's like most notable in-universe property. There's like shows, there's like cereals, there's fucking toys. The rainbow monkeys are real. I mean, what? She also doubles as a medical specialist in multiple episodes and takes care of the hamsters who power the Sector V treehouse. She's actually the one that started the hamsters going on vacation, which is pretty cool. She is very passionate about everything important to her, even if she is kind of ditzy. She's airheaded, but like in the best way possible. She's very caring and very kind, but knows when she needs to get serious. But everything important to her is, and is not limited to, the previously mentioned rainbow monkeys, her sector members, and gifts, like presents. She has one younger sister named Mushi, and is hinted to have a crush on number 4. She is voiced by Lauren Tom, and if that name sounds slightly familiar to you, she voices the Asian, I don't know Futurama, but she voices the Asian girl, I think she has purple hair on Futurama, and she played Ross's Asian wife on Friends, and I have to specify which one because he had like 3 of them. Wife, girlfriend, whatever he came back with when he went to China that one time. Yeah, that's Lauren Tom. All right. Next, we have got the one, the only, the Cyclops lady. Is it the Cyclops? That's not what was listed. Hold on. You're probably right, but I want to get the name right because everyone said it was the Asian lady that was on there. Lauren Tom, Futurama. Who did she voice? No. She voiced Amy Wong. She voiced Amy Wong in Futurama. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very pretty, very, very, very good lady. Literally, when I first heard Kookie's voice, oh shit, what is happening? My entire script just got moved. Literally, when I was, when I was first watching this, the accent for Kookie is pretty strong in the first season. Not like strong, but like noticeable. And I was like, I swear to God, if this is some fucking white lady doing an Asian accent, and it's not, she's 5 followers, primes, and viewers on go fuck yourself. How do I, OMG, Mars Ducks, how do I, there we go. Probably should have banned them, but that's fine. Hi, my beloved puppy. Hello, how are you doing? We are only to number 3, so you didn't, the first 30 minutes was spent with me eating and talking. Welcome back home. How was your outing? Was it fun and good? Very tired. Sleepy. All right. We do need to get moving though on this. The next one is number 4, Wallaby Beetles. My absolute beloved, the love of my life. I love Wallaby Beetles. He's always been my favorite since I was a kid. I love him so much. He is the hand-to-hand combat expert of Sector V. Unfortunately for me, he is by far the least intelligent in his sector. It's actually a running gag that he just doesn't know how to do homework, so he just makes up answers that he thinks are creative. But his bravery and his skills in hand-to-hand combat are basically unmatched in the entirety of K&D. He actually, it's implied in a couple of different episodes that he was an ex-bully, but that's neither here nor there. It is implied that he moved from Australia just before joining the K&D because he has a thick accent, unlike number 1, who seems to have, like, the remnants of an accent because he moved at, like, age 3. He's very against anything super girly, like anything, despite being forced into feminine things like bring your daughter to work day and being sent to an all-girls boarding school and having to be a stand-in for one of number 3's plush toys because he broke it. He's trans. That's all. That's all. He's trans because I said so. He has a very obvious crush on number 3. It's kind of scary that number 3 didn't figure it out. And he also has one baby brother named Joey. Get it? Because he's Australian and a Joey is a baby kangaroo. He is voiced by D. Bradley Baker, and I really hope you like that name because it comes up many times throughout this presentation. Last, but certainly not least, number 5, Abigail Lincoln, commonly referred to as Abby. She is the second in command, former leader, and oldest operative of Sector V. She's very calm and collected. She's a very talented operative. She's arguably the most skilled in the entirety of K&D, which number 1 even thinks so. The leader of Sector V thinks that she is far better suited to be an operative than him or a lot of others. There's a part when number 86, who again we'll get to later, number 86 says that the top 3 operatives in K&D from across different sectors, they're all girls, and it's heavily implied that Abby is one of those 3. So that's kind of cool. She's just very skilled and has always been one of the best. She's an expert in combat and communication, noted by all who work with her. Everyone in K&D that works with her, and even the villains commend her on her talent from time to time. And she's always in tune with her opponent. She always knows the best way to combat them. She had a life before the K&D as a candy hunter alongside her now enemy, Heinrich von Marzipan, who we will get to later. Her sister is actually Teen Ninja and former Sector V leader, Cray Lincoln, who we will also get to later. It is heavily implied that her adventures have traumatized her, especially because it's revealed that she witnessed some horrible act that caused number 1 to permanently lose all of his hair. She saw the defection of now I think 3 or 4 close members in the K&D. So she's been through some shit, and the fact that she was a candy hunter, they went all the way down to Guatemala. She's probably been through some shit. And she is voiced by none other than the lovely Cree Summer. We love Cree Summer here. So that was Sector V. Aren't they cute? as a team, their teamwork is basically unmatched. Like, no other team works as well together as they do, or is shown to work as well together as they do. They can work together even if all of them are restrained. There's a part when all, like, 4 of them are restrained, and they are able to get to the point where Wally can launch shoe guns at Abby for her to use. Like, they somehow did that when they were all restrained. How did they do that? Throughout the K&D, they are known as one of, if not the top sector in the organization, and they are constantly given, like, high importance missions against adult tyranny, like, especially missions against Father, who is the arch nemesis of the entire K&D, and the delightful children from down the lane, because it's in the name, they're down the lane. They all attend 4th grade at Gallagher Elementary School, and this takes place in Cleveland, Virginia. That's where I think the Sector V comes from. But they try to keep their K&D activities and their school life separate as much as possible. Does it work? No, but they try. Other than their siblings, their families don't really seem to know anything about K&D operations, despite their base of operations literally sticking straight out of Number One's house. Yeah. I just realized I keep forgetting to do the space thing. But yes, they are mostly unaware that their kids are, like, doing any of this. So we've got some other important info to get through just real quick. That was a lot. That was the shortened version, if you can believe it. It was. That was a lot. I actually left out a lot of details about each member, even with my little tangents, if you can believe it. And I tried to leave stuff for people to discover if they want to go watch the show. Hopefully this entire presentation gets you interested. There's a few more basic things that you need to know about the series, including key locations, villains, and recurring side characters, and the rules and the ranks of K&D. We'll get to that in a minute. But from here on out, number assignments and names might be used interchangeably. It's just my brain knows them by their names rather than their numbers. But just if you have any questions and you need reminding on who's who, please use the teacher. Oh yeah, Pyre, why don't you try out the ask a question command in the channel points if you're still hiding here, because I want to know what your teacher question is. Oh my god, my fucking head hurts. I don't know if I ate too fast or what. My head just suddenly got like a massive twinge of pain. All right, let's get on with it, boys and gals and non-binary pals.
Teacher, hi, I love you.
Hee hee, I love you too. See, it talks. I did that in case, like, there was a lot of questions or, like, I wasn't paying attention to chat for too long, so I could actually, like, look at it. All right, so we're gonna get into key locations next. First one, wouldn't you know it, Sector V Treehouse, their base of operations. This house, is going from Nigel's home. You might think that's a little weird because a lot of the other tree houses don't do that, but it's supposed to be homaging back to Kenny and the Chimp, because their base of operations was in a house that somehow no one knew if they lived there and never really saw them go in and out very often except for to cause problems, and didn't even know if there were parents there. So they don't notice the treehouse either, I guess. But it does go largely unnoticed. Most people don't even see this. This pattern is consistent with a lot of other tree houses, but this is the only one that's seen in the middle of a suburb, like this blatantly, like out of a house. It has 80 plus levels to it, and it does go back like 2 miles to a large toilet bowl, and it has a state-of-the-art defense system designed by Number One himself. So that implies there wasn't one before he became sector leader. It's unknown where the treehouse was before Nigel became leader, but it can be assumed it was Number 5's house because Cree and Abby were both leaders before Nigel, and the treehouse goes to like where the leader is. So, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Mountain Dew hit my stomach. All right, next we got the all-important, the moon base. It's global operations. Everything gets sent here eventually. This is the global headquarters for all of K&D, and it's considered a treehouse on the moon, but it was constructed a little bit differently. It's home to the supreme leader of K&D, who was currently number 362 after number 274 defected to the Teen Ninjas. It's home to many major operations for the K&D, including commissioning and decommissioning, global K&D meetings, and more important than any of those combined, housing the code module, a device that stores information about every active K&D operative. It's used when people are commissioned, when they're decommissioned, when they have to look up information about someone, when they have to, work on like organizing decommissioning sections and like have to move shit around and blah blah. And, like it's like the major database for all K&D things. Like that's what the code module is. Little is known about its construction, especially since the construction of a lot of the other tree houses is from a seed. But we do know that it was made from scrap metal and tape. Obviously, it's gotten more than that since then, but scrap metal and tape. And it was formed before the space race in 1969. They beat both of us, both Russia and the US, to the moon. There's that. I didn't mean to hit it twice. But next, we're going to go to Arctic Base. This is for like training operations, and it also houses the Villains Prison. It's a very important base, second only to the moon base. Its location is confusing because it's listed as being both Antarctic and at the North Pole. I can't get much information about like what the conflict is here because it's referenced like that throughout the whole series. I'm just gonna chalk it up to kids not really understanding the difference. It has a lot of different functions, again, such as the training. It trains the cadet next door, which are the in-training operatives. They train with number 60, who is also the head of Arctic Base. And it keeps like high villains imprisoned, like high-profile ones. And it stores a lot of training equipment and training modules on all 42 levels. It was the temporary home of the code module, but then Father and some goons tried to steal it, so now the code module just stays on Moon Base. It's too dangerous to keep it down there. So, that was Arctic Base. Next. The Mouthful. The delightful mansion from down the lane. This is an evil hideout. Can you believe it? It looks like a cake. Is it cake or is it house? Cut into it and find out. It is the base of operations for Father and the delightful children from down the lane. You will see this specific acronym a lot. I am not typing out the delightful children from down the lane every single time. I'm not going to have enough room for it. So, if you see this bundle of letters, it is the delightful children from down the lane. The delightful children from down the lane. Just so you know. Alright. It's literally down the lane from the Sector V treehouse. So, it's likely they got their name that way, based on like who the most targeted sector is at that time, because that naming pattern goes with their entire family. That's a long story, but it does. It also has a high-tech defense system. The house isn't a cake, but it looks like a cake. I think it looks like a cake. But it could be a cake. You can make that a cake, and I believe you. But like the Sector V treehouse, it has a very high-end defense system, like extremely. Like, where does Father get all this money? But it's much more sleek and modern. Like, it has it's like metal and like properly built things rather than like 2x4s. It's often used for the delightful children from down the lane's birthday parties, but also a bunch of other different kinds of parties, like dances and soirees and get-togethers and all that, for like all the kids in the neighborhood. It's usually for the delightful children to show off whatever they have, but it does exist. The mansion has a couple of other locations in it. We don't like get every location in the mansion, so we don't exactly know where everything is. We do know there's a prison in the basement, like a set of like chambers for like you to lock people in. It has Father's office, which is seen multiple times throughout the series, and then it also houses delightfulization chambers. I'll leave y'all with that one, because that's a fun one. If I could just remember to like hit the button, we'd be so much better right now. All right, next key location is Gallagher Elementary School. It is the school in Cleveland, Virginia that is attended by all Sector V characters and a couple other side characters. We don't get into very many of them, but there's a bunch of people that go to this school. On the surface, it's just an average elementary school. But it houses a lot more interesting locations, like an actual jungle gym. It's a seemingly infinite structure that houses a literal actual jungle to like climb through, and it ends in a chocolate volcano. What? It has permanent detention, which is a containment unit built similarly to federal prisons to use by the safety patrol for people that break the rules. It's interesting. I'm pretty sure all of the Sector V kids have gone there at least once, and even Lizzie Divine has gone there, I think, at least once as well. The other one, which is the fun one, is it houses the Fountain of Youth. It's a water source that can keep someone a 10-year-old for centuries, and if used multiple times, it can actually bring them all the way down to age 0, meaning they don't exist anymore. So, fun stuff at this seemingly normal elementary school. All right, since we got through all the key locations, let's take a break. Let's take a little break. Let's go back. Let's go back to just chatting. Let's go back here. Where did I go? There I am. I don't know why it takes so long to. Yeah, so that's in season 4, I believe, season 3 or 4. Remember, there is teacher. You can ask me questions. But yeah, Gallagher Elementary School. You don't see a lot of it, and I think like the first season or 2. But once they finally realize they should probably be using the school that these kids go to, they kind of ramp it up. There was actually someone asked like, why did they suddenly start going to school so much? And someone said it's because everything before took place over like summer break, and then when they finally start going back to school, it's because they enacted a 52-week school year. That was the reason for them suddenly being at school again. Which I thought was fucking hilarious. This ice melts so fast, my Mountain Dew is already watered down. That's so sad. I am going to get up and refill my water real quick. I will be right back, and then we will get right back into this. I thought I'd be screaming about this shit for a lot longer, but I think I'm speeding through it. So, if you have any questions so far, just like general ones, even if they're just little ones, go ahead and put them in the chat. You can do the teacher, or you can do just a normal chat message. Remember, there is a timeout of 1 minute on the teacher, so if it doesn't go through the first time, it's probably because it can't. So I will be right back. Hello, I'm back. I was going to just get my water refilled, and then I remembered how much sodium I just ate with KFC, and I had to I'd eat a banana. If you don't know, potassium can counteract sodium issues. You have to eat like a lot of it, but for it to counteract it, but it can. So I do not see any questions, so we're going to continue. The next part of this presentation is important villains. I'm so excited to get into this. Let me make sure that my avatar loads first. I don't know why it does that. Like, why are you doing that? I'm looking and I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. Okay. Well, it wasn't doing that earlier, so. I know I keep saying that, but it wasn't. Everything was fine, and then I actually went to go do shit, and then this happens. So, important villains. There are quite a few, but we're not going to get into all of them. We're going to get into 5 specifically. 3 of them are actually very recurring, and 2 of them I need to plant the seed for the timeline presentation that I'm going to do. So, the very first important villain is the one, the only, Father. He's considered the leader of adult tyranny. He basically can outdo every villain with his hands tied behind his back. He is extremely strong. He is the adoptive father to the delightful children from down the lane. Adoptive being a very loose term. His current appearance is just this simple black silhouette, and you see the yellow eyes here, but his yellow eyes aren't always there. That usually only comes out when he's like super mad. Oh god, why did that happen? He has quite the roster of fire powers. He is basically just one ticking time bomb ready to burn up at any given moment. But kinda what? Say it, Pyre. Say it. I didn't set up my zoom, but pretend I'm zoomed in. Say it. Kinda what? Sus? You can call me sus? Because you're right. Father's hot. I don't care what you say. He's great. In this form. Kind of sexy. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because he has this interesting, you could have called him hot. You could have called him hot. Because he's fire powers. You could have. You missed the opportunity. Anyways, because he is just one big ball of fire, essentially, he is neutralized by cold things. Like ice cream. If you watch the season 1 finale, you'll know what I mean. Literally, ice cream can neutralize this man if you have enough of it. He doesn't like getting his hands dirty, so he'll usually send other villains, including his own children, to do his dirty work. And he isn't seen fighting the KND directly a lot, but when he does, it's actually like a good scheme. Like it could work if the kids, you know, weren't so, they didn't have plot armor. There actually isn't a whole lot I can say about Father right now, because a lot of his story comes from the movie and season 6, so we'll leave it there for now, but he is voiced by Maurice LaMarche, in this form. Anyways. Anywhoser, next one are his children, the delightful children from down the lane. They are wannabe adults. I thought that was the best way to describe them. They are brainwashed, or the show says delightfulized children, and they are the secondary antagonists to the K&D, second only to their father, and they specifically target Sector V like a lot. Their ultimate goal is to become adults. They don't want to be children. It's highly implied that they are kidnapped. There's a lot of hints throughout the story, not even just because a lot of it does come from the later seasons. But even before that, it's highly implied that these are not Father's actual children, that they are someone else's, and he just kidnapped them and delightfulized them. Because of that, there's actually very little known about them, and we only even have names for 4 of them. We don't have a name for the girl with the blonde hair and the bow. We do not have a name for her. If I had all 5 names, I'd put them here, but since we don't have all 5 names, it felt weird. Oh, my eye just went so dry. Holy shit. But when they were around 10-ish, because they're said to be the same age as Sector V, I don't buy that, but when they were 10-ish, they were sent to a delightfulization chamber. When that delightfulization chamber had an accident and the effect of it was increased 1,000-fold, it made them the quote-unquote perfect children. Though they are always speaking in unison, there are some moments where they don't speak in unison, and they like kind of get like frazzled and don't move in sync or anything. So it's still very much considered that they are independent people, and that the delightfulization effect might actually be weakening in those moments. But there's no confirmation of that, because delightfulization has it's very weird. We don't know a whole lot about it, actually. Their voices are Ben Diskin, D. Bradley Baker, and Cree Summer speaking in unison. So if when they're talking they sound like Sector V, it's because it is Sector V talking. Not like actually, but it is Sector V talking. The next important adult, a crowd favorite and mine, Cree Lincoln, Teen Ninja. She is actually the leader of the Teen Ninjas at the moment, and she is the former leader of Sector V when she was known as Number 11. She was the one that trained Abby, actually, so she is like, she's super talented. She's an intense and serious combatant, and at age 13, instead of being decommissioned, she defected. So she still had a lot of high security, like communication codes and access codes and stuff. So because of that, they actually had to make a new high security system. Basically, only important messages, like very high-end, super secure, cannot be heard by anyone else messages, are only hand-delivered and hand-said by highly trained operatives. No sensitive communication is delivered through any other means at all, because she still had...
Teacher, what is a teen ninja?
What is a teen ninja? That is a good question. Thank you, student. A teen ninja is exactly what it sounds like. It is a group of teens that stalk the night. They usually do act at night to try to foil the plans of the K&D. They are organized by Father, and Cree is their leader. It's kind of implied that Cree was the reason that Father decided to make them, because she has such a close connection to the K&D through Abby, because she is Abby's older sister. They have these fun little armors. So there's an entire section in her intro episode, I believe, where her dad, who is a very bad Bill Cosby impression, her dad mentions that she has a training bra now, and HOWDY and Nigel go in there to try to find it and figure out what it is, because when they look on their computer, they say that bra could stand for battle ready armor, which, by the way, makes a bra sound so much cooler than it actually is. But it turns out that it actually is battle ready armor, and if they take off this armor part, there is just a pink training bra on underneath all of this, and it's for all teen ninjas, not just Cree Lincoln. All teen ninjas have this kind of armor, and I think that's really fun. They are probably the biggest threat to the K&D outside of adults. Regular teens are fine, but the teen ninjas, they are definitely like the biggest threat to kids, that it's a lot more imminent because they're so much closer to them. The middle school is like a few blocks down the road from Gallagher Elementary School, so. Oh, and as far as I can tell, I think the teen ninjas might only be in Sector V rather than being across the world like all of K&D is. I'm not totally sure, but I think that's it. She is a very skilled fighter, Cree Lincoln is. She literally taught Abby everything she knows, and is probably the only person that could truly defeat Abby, other than maybe 274. She swears the kids next door as her mortal enemy. It's unclear as to why she defected and why she thinks this of the kids next door. It might just be that she's an angsty teenager, but we'll never know. Also, her age is up for contention, but I think I have it solidified. It will also be in the timeline. She is voiced by her namesake, Cree Summer. Yes, they did make they made Cree Summer voice both Abby and Cree Lincoln. And you can tell, but they definitely just sound like sisters. It's a very good dynamic, I think. All right, next for important villains. The one that pains me to talk about. Heinrich von Marzipan, Candy Hunter. And before anyone asks what's Candy Hunter, It's exactly what it sounds like. They travel the world and hunt down the most elusive candies, the most precious and rare veins of fucking candy crystals, whatever it may be. They hunt down candy across the world. He is a candy hunter, and he was a former partner in crime with Abby, with number 5, before she became number 5. He is a portly German boy, that description is used for a reason, by the way, who is very selfish about his candy and his search for more of it. He doesn't like to share very often. He's often seen in candy-based episodes, wouldn't you know it, especially when Sticky Beard is involved. Sticky Beard is not listed as important villains. He is basically a pirate that sails the suburbs. Literally, he goes through the ground. He doesn't go on water to steal candy from children. He's got rotten teeth and candy in his beard. Therefore, he's Sticky Beard. No, little German boy. No. No, stop. The little German boys fucking kill me. Yes, well, more like treasure hunter, but candy. I wouldn't say jewelry. But like father, we kind of have to leave it there. Most of his stuff is going to be saved for the timeline. And if you remember when I was working on the timeline, again, don't say what it was, but the entire reason the storyline in the timeline exists and has more solid dates is because of Heinrich von Marzipan. So he is a very key part of it. I had to introduce him here. That's why I put him above the other ones, because this is all building up to the timeline was the main goal here. But he is definitely key. And if you notice that name, he is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. You will be seeing that name at least one more time, just so you know. He's wonderful. So this next one is also very important to the timeline presentation I will be doing. And it is the DNK, the Destructively Nefarious Kids. I don't know why it did that. This art is by TKG. If you look up Codename Kids Next Door and then put TKG, you will find a slew of wonderful fan art. This is by far the highest quality fan art that comes from K&D ever. This artist is still active and they still do a lot of good stuff. I highly recommend looking them up. I could not find their @ I had it and then I lost it and I don't know where it is. But I could not find a picture of the DNK altogether because they don't really act together. They usually act solo, but I wanted to get a good picture. So this is the only fan art I use. It's accredited to TKG. Without TKG, there would just be like nothing here, basically. They are not super prevalent. They have one episode. It's a really good episode, but they only have one episode. But it's necessary for me to explain parts of the timeline and my theories that will go along with the timeline class. Why do I have this all the way down here and not up here? What is wrong with me? There we go. So, oh no. No. I just lost my script again. Hold on. I say script. I'm not reading like directly from it, but it is helping me stay on topic. Okay. So, they are literally the negative K and D and numbers. So, like, number 1 is negative number 1. Number 3, negative number 3. So on and so forth. Oh, excuse me. Though the only direct negative numbers we see and that are named are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 86. And then we also see Lizzie, but she's dubbed Xxxl. E-I-Z-Z-E-L. I said that very wrong. It's E-I-Z-Z-I-L. I can't spell, but it's Lizzie backwards. They just pronounce it Xxxl. And there is also an opposite version of the Delightful Children from Down the Lane, and they are called the Little Traitor Dudes for Children's Defense. Their goal is to enslave all children for adults' benefits. Basically the exact opposite of the goals of the K&D. They want kids to like slave in broccoli mines and like do jobs that adults don't want to do so that they can sit back and relax, like that kind of stuff. So literally the exact opposite. It's a really fun episode. I wish I had taken the time to list out episodes that you should watch. I was going to do that, but then I realized I don't have enough time. Even if I'd started this when I wanted to, I didn't have enough time to rewatch the whole series to like give you a list, but I will be making one of those. Next, and finally, recurring side characters. These are allies-ish to the K and D. Just trust me when I say that. We're not going to waste too much time here because there's quite a few to get through, actually, and I have a lot to say about a couple of them. First one up, number 362, aka Rachel T Mckenzie, though because she is the supreme leader of the K&D, she is more often than any other character referred to as number 362. Before she was a supreme leader, she was an undercover operative, as we see a couple times before number 274 defects, and we'll get into that in a minute. Normally, when a supreme leader is chosen, it's through a game of tag, but it's unclear if that happened. I don't think it did because of the circumstances. So I think she just became supreme leader. We don't really see her very much outside of Moonbase, which is where the supreme leader resides. So it's kind of safe to assume she was originally assigned to Moonbase. And she always puts the K&D first. Even when she was an undercover operative, she always would put like the K&D and the safety of the K&D at like the top of her priority list. She's a strong leader, and even though her needs to put the K&D first often have her putting the rules first, and sometimes she sticks a little too close to the rules, and it can often put operations in jeopardy. That's why her and number 1 are very good opposites. I'm gonna leave it at that. But despite them being so opposite, her and number 1 actually do have a very close relationship. Almost exclusively, they refer to each other as Rachel and Nigel. They usually don't use numbers with each other, and we see that like immediately. So she's very important to Nigel, I believe. She is also voiced by Rachel McFarlane of Seth MacFarlane fame. She voices also the sister from American Dad. So if you listen to her voice and it sounds familiar, I guarantee you that's where it's from. Now, sticking with Moonbase, we are going to number 86, Fanny Fulbright. She is a former medic and the current head of decommissioning on Moonbase. You're not going to believe me, but she is a thick accented Irish girl. I know she sounds Scottish. She's Irish, confirmed. Just trust me when I say that. She detests men. Girl boss moment. We love to see it. She does detest men, though. She actually fucking hates them a lot. She thinks that men, she puts down the male operatives to the K&D quite often, like even if they're clearly doing good, and thinks more highly of a female operative compared to a man, even if the female operative is doing significantly less than the male operative. She just thinks they're better, which, you know what? Girl boss moment. She's right. She's right, and she should say it. She's also very by the book, not taking her into account her personal feelings at all when it comes to decommissioning. There was an episode where all of Sector V had to be decommissioned because of bullshit. And she had no qualms, even with Kooky and Abby. No qualms about decommissioning them. If you have to be decommissioned, you're being decommissioned. She doesn't care, like, at all. But despite this, despite her rough and tough appearance, despite her yelling, despite her hatred of men and all this stuff, she's extremely feminine when she's not in the K&D. She actually, number 1 says that she actually has more rainbow monkeys than number 3 does, which is crazy, right? That's Operation Slumber, and then in Caked 5, in Operation Caked 5, she's actually. They revive, I know it's in season 5, but I don't think is it that important? I don't think so. Number 19th Century and her kind of like have a thing going, even though he like is misogynistic and thinks that girls aren't worth anything. She like likes when he calls her pretty. It's really cute, actually. She is the daughter of Mr. Boss, who's a main villain in the show. It has 2 younger brothers, Shawnee and Patty. Patty's actually a K&D operative. He's number 85. I'm pretty sure. And she is voiced by Jennifer Hale. Unfortunately, I do not have any fun facts about who Jennifer Hale is voiced, but the voice is very good, even though it does sound Scottish. I really don't know why. Next. By far one of my favorites in the entire series. If I say you remind me of Lizzie, just know that I love you dearly. Lizzie Divine! She's a 4th grader at Gallagher Elementary School. I fucking love her. She's extremely passionate about the things that she cares about, which includes things like cooking, and number 1. She is dating number 1. Other than a few taunts from like the Delightful Children, she's actually the origin for number one's nickname Nige, which is used by a lot of people throughout the series. So she's like the origin of someone calling him Nige. She often messes with the K&D's plans, if indirectly or not, because she thinks that her relationship with Nigel should be above K&D operations, which I firmly agree. She's right and she should say it. He's a workaholic and needs to spend more time with her. Maybe I'm biased, but it's fine. Again, another character that I want to talk about more, but I physically can't because it retcons so much of the fucking series. But we're not going to talk about it. She is the girlfriend of number one, and would you believe it, voiced by none other than Grey Delisle. If you don't know who Grey Delisle is, she has been the voiceover actress for Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo, I believe since the 90s, actually. Either the 90s or the early 2000s, but she has been like the voice of Daphne Blake. If you don't know her from that, or you don't watch Scooby-Doo movies, she also voiced Sam Anson and Danny Phantom. She is I'm pretty sure she also played Tootie in Fairly Odd Parents. She voices all across the spectrum for all these fucking cartoons. She is one of those voices of your childhood kind of thing. She's like my Tara Strong, if I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I love Tara Strong, and she does voice some characters in this show as well, but Grey Delisle is my Tara Strong. Alright, now that I have some more Mountain Dew, let's fucking go. Because this is one that I really want to talk more about, but again, okay. This is number 274, aka Chad Dixon. He is the former supreme leader of the K&D, and he's currently working with the teens. He's both... My monitor just flickered. So that flicker for you guys too? Sometimes it does that. I had to install my old driver because I couldn't take not playing Genshin. If that flickered, I apologize. Actually, let me make sure it's still on. Is it still on? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, cool. It might have just been I have a HDMI switcher too that sometimes glitches out. Okay, sorry. So, this is number 274. Former Supreme Leader, currently working with the Teen Ninjas. At first, they kind of put him on his, like, own little thing with the teens, but he soon was, like, shown to be part of the Teen Ninjas. It was a weird transitional period. Even so, despite all that, he is known as one of the, if not the best K&D operative of, you know, probably the last couple decades. He was a very talented operative. He was an extremely fair and, you know, wonderful supreme leader. He tried to change his age in the system so that he could stay an operative, and he told his parents he didn't want to party, right? But his parents are stupid, and they didn't hear that, so they still mailed out invitations and to anyone in Sector V. And that caused a problem for him because he already changed his age in the system to be like 11 or something, like 11 or 12, so he wouldn't be scheduled for decommissioning. But because he didn't catch his parents with the invitations in time, Nigel was able to figure out that it was his 13th birthday and he has to be decommissioned. So, he tried, he failed, he defected. Like Kree, what the fuck? Why does my fucking... the target of my keyboard keeps changing and I'm getting mad. Okay. Now we're good. Yeah, so it was never decommissioned exactly like Kree, so he still knows sensitive candy information. But, fourth verse, same as the first, a lot about what I love about him is lore heavy, so we can't get into a whole lot of it. But just know he is a very complex character, and I do love him near and dear to my heart. He is voiced by Jason Harris. I once again don't have any fun facts about voice actor Jason Harris, but he is a lovely voice actor. His portrayal of Chad Dixon is actually very good. One of my favorite voice roles in the series. Okay, Tommy isn't loading right. My apologies, but this is Tommy Gilligan. If that name sounds familiar, it's number 2's little brother. Hat and all should actually be a very clear sign of that. You might notice at the bottom it says he's called the Tommy. He is a former Kids Next Door operative and currently a vigilante. He calls himself the Tommy. When he was a K&D operative, his number was number T. Remember when I said that at the beginning? Yeah, his number was number T. And you might think, how is that an acceptable number? It's not an actual number. Because if you put it in a code module, and the code module accepts it, it can be a valid number. So, he just got to be number T for a little bit. But he is currently acting as a vigilante. He is the younger brother of number 2, aka HOWDY Gilligan. He is one of the few operatives to have single-handedly, with very little help from anyone else, figure out and foil Father's plans. He usually has good intentions with what he does, but sometimes he does still fuck shit up for the kids next door in very much little brother fashion, messing with his older brother's friends, messing things up, fun's gone, etc. But you cannot, because of him foiling one of Father's plans, you really cannot write him off completely. He's extremely talented at strategizing and planning, and he thinks about things a lot more than a lot of other operatives. Though, with the way he had to foil Father's plans, he was forced to leave the K&D. There was no way to reinstate him. He was not decommissioned. He simply left the K&D and did not have to go through the decommissioning process. That's a little bit of a continuity thing that's kind of weird, but he was never decommissioned. But other than all that, he's a pretty standard younger brother. Like, just wants to play with his brother and his friends, wants to be like number 2, doesn't like taking a bath, you know, etc, etc. And that name again, voiced by D. Bradley Baker. This man does so many voices through the show. There is a time when Tommy is like mocking number 4, and it literally just sounds like number 4. Like, it sounds like Tommy mocking number 4, but it also just sounds like number 4 because it's D. Bradley Baker. He can't just change the voice. If you want to know more about D. Bradley Baker, by the way, he voices, have I mentioned this is actually super interesting? I don't know if you have, but that makes me really happy because I feel like I'm just gushing about something that no one cares about. I really like talking about K&D. It's really fun because it's so complex. Like, there's so much thought put into everything. It's great. Wait, we're not done. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. We still have one more side character, and it is another one of my favorite side characters. And his name is Maurice, aka number 9. He is not necessarily major, but he is needed for context for the timeline class. A lot of this is just building up to the timeline class, so just know that. He's actually a former K&D operative, and he is decommissioned, quote unquote. He is currently working for the teens, and this is not a spoiler. This is all in season 4, so this is not technically lore heavy. But he's actually a spy for the K&D. He is one of the very, 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 very few operatives that was never fully decommissioned. He basically faked his decommissioning so they could get out of there, and the teens would believe that he had been decommissioned. He is a young boy who left Sector V, hold on. He didn't leave Sector V. When they were younger, about 3 years before the start of the series, he and his sector, which is Sector V, I think it was like Abby's second mission, so it was a while ago. They were trying to catch the teens who were giving kids chicken pox. They were getting poxed, is what they called it. And unfortunately for him, 2 of his sector members got hit with chicken pox. And he vowed from that day on to go solo and find the source of the chicken pox. 3 years later, all he's found out is that the chicken pox was on an island. That's all he found out. He couldn't figure out what the island was, where it was, what they did there. But all he found out was it was on an island somewhere. He considered himself a failure. But because of all this research and because of how dedicated he was to the K&D, and because in 3 years of being solo he never once defected, they decided to keep him and have him be a teen spy to find the source of the chickenpox faster so the K&D can come in and destroy it. So that was his whole thing. That's why I love him a lot. His decommissioning is actually interesting because a lot of the other decommissionings we see are either private or they're just kind of like, yeah, let's go, get the teen out of here. His is very sad. Everyone is upset. Everyone in the auditorium is like really sad and crying. Number 86 even is, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, sorry. Even number 86, the man-hating girl boss, was like upset that she had to decommission Maurice. Like, she was crying. He is a very beloved member of the K&D. He's again, that's why he's one of the few that gets to stay a K&D operative and spy on the teens. He's not the only one, but there are very few of them. He is voiced by, I'm sorry if I'm saying this name wrong, Kari Payton. If you don't know that name, he voices Cyborg in Teen Titans. I thought that was cool because when I was listening to his voice, when I was, watching the episode the first time, I'm like, that sounds familiar. That sounds like Cyborg. I was right. I'm so good at this game. All right. So that, my friends, was all of the characters that I want to introduce you to. I don't know why this keeps happening. There I am. Okay. So that's all the characters. And that was a lot. How are we feeling? Any major questions, any things you'd like to discuss before we go on to the rules and ranks of the K&D? No, we're not done. There's more. There's more. We're not done yet, but, I want to know how we're feeling. Do we want to discuss anything before we continue? Do we want to do the rules and ranks and then discuss? Do we, what do we want to do? I'm gonna let the students drive this class. Oh wait, I just remembered. Wait, no, not that one. This one? No, why is it not working? Hold on. There it is. Look, I put my arm down. Look it. Hup. Hup. I like my hand down. I'm gonna turn off my captions for a second so you can see my hand because my hand looks really cool. Where is it? There it is. Just for a second. Look at my hand. Is my hand cool? Aren't I cool? Aren't I just so cool? Aren't I so gay? This is not the stance of a straight person. This is the stance of a very gay person. Good hand. And I can just go back and forth like, oh. Up. 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 Fuck, I have to not be on OBS. Teacher, wasn't there like an organization for spies for those who were decommissioned? What do you mean? There was the teen spies. They weren't necessarily decommissioned. They were just teens that were working for father. I think it's likely that they were K&D operatives, ex-K&D operatives. They usually did recruit kids before they left the K&D, but I don't think it's necessarily those who weren't decommissioned. Or are you talking about members that were quote-unquote decommissioned? Because they're just in the teen spies. Like, they just do work for the teens. They have to go on, like, actual missions with the teens and, like, fight the K&D. And no one actually knows who's who, like, who's... Except for the Supreme Leader and maybe number 86. There's actually no one that actually knows everyone that's not fully decommissioned. So there's not, like, an actual organization. It's just they're hand-selected by the quote-unquote executives of K&D, like number 362 and 86 and all that. Probably number 60 as well. Like, they all have to handpick them, and it has to be for a specific reason. Very, very few of them are actually, are considered for that. Like, number 5 wasn't even selected for it. Like, that's not really a spoiler, but, like, number 5 was not even selected to, be in the Teen Spies. So, it's a very, very rigorous process to get selected for that. I think Abby wasn't selected because of her sister, but because I think her sister could tell, but yeah. So there was, other than that, I can't think of anything else, but yes. Any other questions, class, before we do the last little bit of this presentation? My nose is getting so stuffed up from talking for 2 hours straight. Are there any other questions before we continue? Guys, gals, and non-binary pals. This music slaps, but I don't know what it is. It's just some, like, random playlist that I found. It works. Yes, various Nintendo Wii music. This sounds great. Perfect. Even better for the last part of this. All right, let's get back to this last part of the presentation then. Let my avatar poke back up. There we go. Oh, I need to have my hand out. I need to be presenting things. I need to... What the fuck? What the fuck? No, what the fuck? I need to... There. Now I'm presenting things. Okay, cool. So, the rules of K&D. These are pieced together from the series. They are both taken from the wiki, which is called the K&D code module, and then my own knowledge based on the research that I'd done specifically for the timeline. A lot of it's not in order because there isn't like a rule book of K&D, but this is like the basics that you need to know about K&D and how they function. All potential operatives must be aged 5 to 12. I think they said the youngest operative was like 12 months old. I don't believe that, but they cannot be older than 13, and they usually don't recruit younger than 5 because obviously. Before becoming an operative, all kids must go through Arctic training as a cadet and pass the entrance exam. I'm assuming it's a written exam because there's no other like mention of it being like a hand to hand or something. But there's on Arctic base there is all of it is like 42 levels of training. So they have to achieve like certain scores in certain training levels. We don't get a whole lot of info about that except for the episode focusing on Tommy and his other 2 cadets. Pretty simple. Gotta pass the test. Gotta make sure you're worthy enough to be in the K&D. Actually, that being said, not every child is a K&D operative. Most of them aren't. Most of them don't even know that the K&D exists. It's a very like tight-knit group despite it being a clear integrated part of society. Anyways, upon graduating and choosing a number, because these kids do get to choose their own number assignment, all kids will be assigned to a geographically appropriate sector. So, like with Tommy, he wasn't moved to some random sector. He was moved to Sector V because that's where him and his brother live. Operatives must only be referred to by their numbers during missions, especially high-profile ones, for security purposes, so their actual names aren't, like, put out there so that the adults can't, like, coordinate even more tactical attacks on them. A number can be reused only if that operative has been decommissioned. Numbers have been reused throughout history because there's clearly only so many numbers. But the 2 kids cannot have the same number at the same time because that's probably not going to work. All right, next section. All sectors must have a treehouse space built only with a treehouse seed. It was specifically designed by K&D scientists to be able to grow the perfect treehouse base, and then from there it can be customized to whatever the place needs. An exception to this rule is Sector A. It's Sector Amish, as an Amish community doesn't use 2x4 technology at all. They are currently growing a tree, like just a normal ass tree, and are in theory going to build a normal tree house. A second sort of exception to the rule is that moon base is built from duct tape and metal, and it was built like on the way to the moon. It's unclear if a treehouse seed would even work, but because of like the red stuff that's coming up through there, it's implied they may have made a kind of like tree seed for the moon that would work. There's not a whole lot of details on that though. All right, now that we got the tree houses and the basic rules out of the way, let's get into decommissioning. When an operative is approaching the age of 13, they will be scheduled for decommissioning on their birthday. It's usually on their birthday. I do not remember an instance where it isn't, other than like someone is ordered for it for a specific reason. This does not exclude members cryogenically frozen or otherwise are physically 13 but chronologically over 13. So there's an episode where they uncover, they talk about like a huge ice cream explosion that froze a bunch of operatives for 10 years, right? So when those operatives were removed, physically they were still like 10, but chronologically speaking, they were 23. So they had to be decommissioned, even though technically and socially they would be under the age of 13. No operative, under any circumstance, may be recommissioned by any means. Keep that in mind for the timeline. If an entire sector is decommissioned at the same time, their treehouse is immediately cut down and confiscated by the decommissioning squad. They just take it out of the ground and bring it up to Moonbase. I don't remember if they do anything with it after that, but I don't think they do. I think they probably just destroy it. If a sector's leader is decommissioned and the leader is not appointed from current members, the sector will be assigned a new leader, and the entire sector will move to their new leader's location. This also kind of ties into like how would the K&D get that to happen, because the kids aren't the ones that decide how to move, it's the parents. So this also implies that the K&D has access to all these parents' jobs and can like reassign them as necessary. But I do not remember seeing an example of this actually happening. I just know that that is what would happen because it was mentioned somewhere. Now onto the technology. All technology must be approved by K&D scientists before mass use in the K&D. Basically, the scientists have to pick the technology, redevelop it so that it is a little more structured and can be reproduced on a mass level. This is done through science fairs, just where different sectors bring their 2x4 technology officers. They build up a booth and they display what new technology they've been working on. It's also done through extensive research, like, you know, the basics, how you would develop a weapon. But it is also done in dire emergency situations. Certain things can be created. This doesn't happen very often. Number 2 is the one that does it most, but he's not a scientist. So it's mostly like temporary weapons that are made that way. The kids next door only fight evil adult tyranny. They don't fight all adults. Not all adults are a threat, though they are suspicious of all of them. Unless an adult poses a serious threat to the K&D or attacks directly, they should be left alone. No, like, we don't like you, but you can stay over there and you'll be fine. Adults are not permitted to be a member of the K&D and cannot go through training, graduation, or sector assignment. Once again, keep that in mind. Why are you not going forward? There we go. I don't know what it was doing. Now, probably should stop there. Now into the ranks of K&D. This one is a lot more loose because there's also not a specific list of this. This is just from major characters that have had like their assignment said. Oh god. My headphone thing got stuck under... Okay, there we go. My headphone cord got stuck underneath my microphone stand. But the ranks of K&D are the ranks of K&D. This is built from different members that have had their entire title said, though some of them aren't like clear on their order and like hierarchy and stuff. So just keep that in mind. I tried to put them together the best that I could based on how much the show weights some of the assignments' importance, if that makes sense. So, ranks of K&D, we're going to start with different sections. So the first one is Moonbase. On Moonbase, you have, of course, the top, Supreme Leader. Right now it's number 362. Before that, it was number 274. And before that, it was number 100. And beyond that, I'm not telling you anything else. After that is the second in command of Supreme Leader. This is not the same as the second in command of a sector. This is someone that is thought to easily succeed the Supreme Leader if needed. Kind of like a vice president kind of situation. This is someone that is thought that they could take over the Supreme Leader position at any time. After that, we have Head of Decommissioning, who is currently number 86. It's unclear who took over, who was it before, like who number 86 took it from, and then who it will be after number 86. But they basically handle all decommissioning and just commissioning in general procedures, and they're usually pretty close with the Supreme Leader, so I assume they're pretty high up in the command. And then the Head of Decommissioning will have a decommissioning lieutenant or multiple lieutenants. I'm not totally sure on that, but that is literally directly below Head of Decommissioning. And then after that is the Supreme Commander of Armed Forces. I like to think this might be just below decommissioning, if not a couple of rungs below. It's kind of just what it sounds like. They command armed forces. The moon base gets a lot of attacks, and they have to, regulate that. And then from there, you have the Global Tactical Officer. Basically just develops new tactical procedures for the entirety of the K&D for different sectors to utilize correctly. This one I had to squeeze on this page because it's literally just one thing. It's Arctic Base. The commander of the K&D Arctic Base. It's the only title we have from Arctic Base. Right now it's number 60, and they are also directly in charge of training all the cadets. Next, we have these are titles that are found in all sectors. No matter what the sector actually does, these are found in all sectors in one way or another. So we have the sector leader. That'd be number 1 for sector V. Sector. Second in command. This is literally someone that's kind of similar-ish to the second in command of Moonbase, but it's someone that could be expected to take over or to lead the sector in the sector leader's absence. They have to be just as skilled as the leader, and for Sector V, that is number 5. There's a 2x4 technology officer. This is someone that specializes in the sector's 2x4 technology, can fix it, can make new ones, can knows how to maybe even break one apart, knows what's best for each mission, stuff like that. That is number 2 for Sector V. Hand-to-hand combat expert, someone who is literally just there to just run and gun it, just fucking smack something. They usually will have a decent skill, like be decently skilled at like using weapons, but usually they want to be like in the middle of combat and be able to like physically overwhelm their opponent. For Sector V, that is number 4. Weapons expert. This one, Sector V does not have a specific weapons expert, but this is implied to be in most sectors as well. This usually will overlap with all of them. Specifically, second in command and the 2x4 technology officer will have to be weapons experts just because of their rank. That they kind of have to be. There is a specific weapons expert like title, but it usually does it's like a secondary title for other titles as well. Oh, and then there's the diversionary tactics specialist. If you can believe it, this is in Sector V, this is number 3. Someone that just has to figure out how to divert the attention of the adults or whoever they're fighting, knows how to be able to, direct the people or the sector operatives to not get hit, to like divert things. They have to be very tactical and very thoughtful about what they're doing and what they're telling their other sector members to do in the middle of a very intense battle. All right, and now onto the other ranks. These are just ones that are not specified, or I only found evidence of it being in one sector, meaning it might just be a unique thing to that sector. So we have medics. It is unclear if there are medic assignments per sector, or if that might just be a moon-based thing, or it might be its own kind of separate, like, special ops squad, like the Undercover Operatives kind of thing. That's very unclear because a lot of the operatives also act as medics in certain situations, like number 3 is for Sector V. Undercover Operatives, I just mentioned those. I've only ever seen them on Moonbase, but because they're undercover, it's likely that they report to Moonbase, but they might act on their own completely. It might be kind of like solo-ish, kind of how Maurice was. There's not a whole lot of information on this, but they're exactly what they sound like. They go undercover, they infiltrate, adult hideouts, and then come back and report information that they have to the Supreme Leader. Next, we have guards. These are just people that guard very high security places like the prisons and certain parts of Moonbase and other high security random areas across the globe. Technical yo-yo specialist. This is only seen under number 84? I don't remember. It's one of the kids that trains with Tommy in the Cadets Next Door. He is assigned technical yo-yo specialist, as you see in the last episode. That being said, just because it's the last episode and me mentioning that's not a spoiler. That's just his assignment. He's really skilled with a yo-yo. He can knock you on your ass with a fucking yo-yo. And then soda snacks and treats officer. That is also an assignment from one of Tommy's classmates, Sonia. That's just her official title. I believe that she might be that because she's very afraid of the dark and very skittish. So they may treat her as more of like a supporting role. So she might have another role. She might also be a medic, or she might also be the diversionary tactics specialist, or she might be a 2x4 technology officer, something like that. Last one is scientists. I believe these have their own tree houses. There's a couple different ones where the scientists are seen, but it's also likely that they might just be their own little like faction. They might just be like spread across the globe. They might just be confined to certain research centers, stuff like that. I don't think these actually officially have their own tree houses and sectors. I think they're kind of just like everywhere. That's all I got, folks. That was the basics that you need to know of codename Kids Next Door, in my personal opinion. Maybe there's some more that you need to have somewhere that I didn't think of. But that's it. I mean, like, I guess that's not it. There's more, but like, we're not gonna cover it here. We have a lot to cover, but that's it for the basics. I know, before anyone says anything, I skipped a lot of villains. I skipped a lot of characters. Some of them I can describe super fast, and some of them I'd like to have their own sections so that you really remember them, you know? I wanted to give you the basics so that if you're not interested in the show, you can get interested in this show. My favorite part about it is actually that, I had to change it because the original logo is like primary yellow and like primary red. Like, I had to change it because it was ugly. This is not the official logo. Like, hold on, let me see if I can show you guys the official logo. It's not, I mean, there's a solid black one, but, it's, like, it's primary red and primary yellow. I couldn't put this on that slide. I couldn't. I'm sorry, I couldn't. It's so ugly. There's this one, which there was a solid blue one at the beginning of the series. And there is this, like, black and white one. But other than that, this is like the official one, and it's pretty bad. That's not the official one. Right colors, this is the official one. It's just bad. So I had to change it for that. Start from here. Okay. So one of my favorite parts of this show is the fact that you have to buy into everything. Every time I talk to Pyre about this, I'm like, you have to just trust me and just go with it. A lot of the events that happen are the ones you have to buy into. Like, it definitely sounds like it's straight out of a kid's mind. This show depends on the suspension of disbelief. The characters take themselves and everything they get into very seriously and expects you to do the same as the viewer, which is why it was so perfect as a show that was targeted for children. But the absurdity in some of this shit is like the best part of the show. Like, a giant tricycle stealing every bike in a suburb, a company executive sending girls to Pluto, and pink eye crust being used as crumble on top of a cheesecake. This is only shit that you would hear from like a 7-year-old trying to be like super deep and like tell you all their theories about how the world works, because their head is just so, the way they think is just so narrow based on what they know, because they're like 10. You don't know anything yet. But it still has like serious moments that you would like, that seem a little more mature, but based on the situation that they're in and the missions that they go on, you believe that that could be like something that they talk about and something that they feel and deal with. It's so fucking cool. Codename Kids Next Door absolutely deserved all the success and praise that it received back when it was airing. And the love that you see it still get today, not just from me, there's like a bunch of people that still fucking love this show. It's a testament to like how good it was. If you haven't sat down and really watched the show, I don't even have it on the background, I mean like watched the show, I really hope that what I presented to you today has inspired you to go back and rewatch it and really give it a chance, because there's so much character to it just as like a cartoon, but there's even more as a show overall, like a from writing standpoint. It's so fucking good. Oh no, where'd I go? Oh my god. Okay. So boys, we've done it. We've done the entire presentation. We have finished. You all now know every basic thing you could need to know about Codename Kids Next Door. I don't think there's any, there's actually plenty that I didn't touch on that I probably should have. But all in all, I think I left you all in a very good place to be able to look at Codename Kids Next Door, maybe even just a little differently, and be like, huh, that's actually pretty good. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And if you don't want to give it a shot, you don't want to give it a shot. It's fine. But just know that I won't shut the fuck up about it, so you better get used to it. I will be doing a timeline stream later in the future. I'm not totally sure when. I am going to do it a lot differently than this one. It's going to be more interactive, less basic. I have a plan for it. And when I say this, Peachy will know what I'm talking about. I'm going to use Adobe XD for the timeline one, not Google Slides. There's a lot to the timeline. I will give you guys a little preview, I think I can give you guys like a preview of it. You saw me working on it like a couple nights ago. But like, there's so much. I'm trying to like figure out, I guess it's fine wherever I put it. But like, there's so much. Like, this is the first page, and this is like, I think this is like, okay, so this all right through, actually no, this all through like right here. This is seasons 1 through 4. No, wait. This is seasons 1 through 4-ish. And then this is seasons 5, 6, and the movie. This is what I mean by it's lore heavy. Yeah, I wasn't gonna use XD, but like after using Google Slides, I'd rather die than like not use it again. So I'm absolutely going to be using XD. Why do I keep disappearing in between switching frames? I don't know why it does that. But like the timeline is complicated, and there's still a couple pieces that I'm gonna move around because some of it's not right, I think. So yeah, I'm glad that I was able to tell you all about the basics of K&D and maybe inspire y'all to go back and rewatch it properly because it deserves it. The timeline stream it'll take a while because Peachy can confirm XD is a nightmare to work in. It's better now, but it's a nightmare to work in, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. I don't have anything else for y'all, actually. Did anyone have any questions or anything they want to talk about concerning this? While you guys decide on that, I'm going to drink some water. Wait, did you guys know I can speak straw? I don't know what I just said, but I can speak straw. Oh no. What the fuck? What just happened? Why am I here? No, why am I all the way up here? Why did that happen? I love OBS. Sorry. I was trying to mark it for me to look at later. Any discussion topics? Anything people would like to know more about that I could possibly elaborate on a little bit? Any more teachers? Any thoughts? Any feelings? Any... Aloha. Brendan? How do I gently break it to you that your timing is as it always was? And is awful. Brendan. I'm literally done. I literally have been on for almost 2.5 hours. I will be keeping this VOD up. I don't think there's any majorly like copywritten things that would make it mute. Would you like to use the teacher function? If you go into the eggs and you go to the first one, it says ask a question for 10 eggs. Well, for that 2.5 hours, I was piloting a plan. Piloting a plan? A plane? Are you a pilot? Are you a pilot? Are you sure? You're a pilot? Are you a pilot or are you playing a game? Don't fuck with me. Are you a pilot or are you playing a game? Don't fuck with me here, Brendan. Brendan, don't do this to me. I'm on Twitter because my brain hurts. I'm a pilot. Ooh, we got a pilot in the house, boys. That's so fancy. Wow. Well, that sounds fun. How's that going for you? Going good? I hope it's going good. I hope it's going real good. Why does my head feel like it's going to explode? Well, I'm glad it's going good, even if you are tired. Getting into something new and being a trainee is always tiring. Doesn't matter what it is. But I'm assuming being a pilot makes it even worse. Well, if there's a lot of turbulence, oh no. I would just cry. I cry when I'm like the passenger and there's turbulence. My head is starting to hurt even more, which means I probably need to not be looking at a screen for a little bit. I think it is time for this teacher to go take a nap. Do you all like the new model? I don't know if I'll keep it like for anything else, but because I've been here for like 2 minutes, the VOD will still be up. As far as I know, nothing will be muted. So, and it was not you, Brendan. I was literally winding down right when you got here. I'm so sorry. But I can you reword that for me, Pyre, please? Can you reword that, Pyre? And what do you mean? You can't even see it. You can't even see it. What are you talking about? Can't even see my boobies. They're in the shirt. Pyre, no. Get out. I like this model. I like the outfit. I think I might. There's a couple other like options for this one, like not well, I guess poses that I wanted to do that I didn't get time to do because I had to work on the actual presentation part. But I can't believe I just thought it just started. That's so weird. You always manage to come in like right when I'm ending or like 2 hours in. Like no in between. It's so funny. But yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. Even if Brendan was only here for like, what is this D&D log? You're rolling nat ones every time you go to open Twitch. My entire throat just spasmed. I hope everyone had a good time, whether you came for a minute, an hour, the whole time, or at the last 5 minutes, like, players start rolling a nat 20. Even if you only came for the last 5 minutes of stream, I appreciate you coming. And this VOD will be up on Twitch. I'll be uploading it to YouTube at some time this week-ish. I just upload them straight from Twitch, so there's no like editing or anything for it. So you'll have all my faults and everything in it as well. But I hope everyone had a good, fun time, and I will see you guys this week for some more streams. I have some planned, but I need to put out the schedule still today, so I will be getting on that. Look out for that on Twitter and in the Discord. Thank you everyone for coming and listening to me scream about K&D for so long, and I will see you guys on Tuesday, actually, for Your Turn to Die, for KG Tits Tuesday. Okay, bye guys! Goodbye!